I barely know any Pain of Salvation songs, and yes, I am very ashamed. Hello everyone, today we have Full Throttle Tribe by Pain of Salvation. I got this suggestion from Yonatan Barak, the guy who pretty much taught me what a studio is and what recording drums actually means. And wow, this band and this album are just incredible.
This will be my tribe, my family. This will be my flag and nation. This will be my creed, my legacy. Will you follow me?
The song starts off with this soft keyboard pulse that quickly turns into a unison, played by everyone. This very steady unison can be practically anything. We don't have enough context to know what the time signature is or what the subdivision is, but we can safely assume those are the main beats, right? And assuming these are the main beats, we can start guessing for a few options for subdivisions. So, eighth notes? Triplets? Maybe quintuplets? So, are these the main beats? No. You should know that when prog bands or fusion bands play these kinds of steady pulses, it's almost never the case that those are the main beats. There's usually a drum groove that comes in that makes you oh, that's what they meant, I get it now. It's very smart. חשבתי זה ככה, ואז זה ככה. And here's that aha moment for this one. The drums come in and put everything at its place by playing this hi-hat snare groove that provides the necessary context for us to analyze the intro. Listening to that groove, we can extract two things. First, we're in 16 notes. I'll play them a bit slower. They're kinda quick. And second, these stabs in the intro are in groups of 7. But remember, this is not a septuplet. It's a group of 7 16 notes. Okay, so what about the time signature? You might think we're in 4 because of that backbeat on the snare, but that's not the case. We're just used to associating a backbeat with 4/4. The actual time signature here is 7/4.
They never signed onto this mankind. No color, race, or creed felt truly mine.
As the song continues, we're introduced to a pattern in 5. Same concept as the 7, where the first hit is emphasized. The 5s here are a recurring motif throughout the song.
Felt truly mine.
Moving forward, we have a riff that combines both groupings. This riff contains 4 repetitions of the 7, followed by 4 repetitions of the 5, to give us a total of 48 subbeats. These 48 subbeats can be counted as a bar of 7/4 and a bar of 5/4. Obviously you can count it in many ways, but this one makes sense to me. Now, do you remember I talked about the context that the drums provide? Kind of like the framework that the riff is built around? That context is the quarter note pulse. And that pulse has a bunch of different manifestations. And check out how these different representations of that pulse, of that context, directly changes the way the riff feels. The two rhythmic sides that we have here are this 7-7-7-7-5-5-5-5 riff against the quarter note pulse, which results in 12 beats, or like I said, a bar of 7-4 followed by a bar of 5-4. So in the first example, something cool is happening, where in the first repetition, the quarter notes are not played at all, which means we're almost forced to hear it as the individual groups. Then, in the second repetition, the hi-hat comes in and plays those quarter notes, so we get that pulse feeling back. In the third repetition, the hi-hat stops playing the quarter note pulse, and the kick drum playing a 16-note pattern comes in. But that kick drum totally supports the individual groups because the hi-hat is gone. And finally, at the end, the ride comes back, playing those same quarter notes, so that feel is restored. We feel the real pulse again. Lastly, we have the outro. The same riff is played, but the drums are playing in halftime. Now, this means that the context of the quarter notes is still there, but we're just playing less of them, which means that the amount of context we have is less, which means that it's going to be a bit harder to feel it through those quarter notes. Check it out. As for the rest of the outro, the drummer goes into this kind of like solo, more like active playing kind of vibe. And this means that he plays with the time more elastically, which leads him to ditch that backbeat on the snare. Now, the ditching of the backbeat on the snare leads to a compromise in the quarter note feel, so now the other groups feel a bit stronger. This song is so good, and I finally got to know this band. Better late than never, I guess. By the way, if you enjoy this channel, well, if you got this far in the video, you probably do, and want to hear more polyrhythmic music, I've created 2 time-consuming playlists on Spotify. The first one contains all the songs previously analyzed in the channel. This one will be updated weekly after every upload. And the second one has all the suggestions you guys send me, if it's through the comments or elsewhere, plus a bunch of songs that are all considered for future episodes. Check out the details in the description. Thank you very much for watching.